Man, it has been a busy few days in the hip-hop scene, okay? There's been a lot going on. I've been outside moving and grooving. You see me outside. You saw me in the booth, all right? So I'm just desperately trying to keep up with all of the news that's going on, okay? And really, I wasn't even going to make a video today. But come to find out, my name just got brought up in the Foolio trial, okay? And before you say I'm the feds or I'm working with the feds, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit more context behind why my name was brought up in court in the Foolio trial today, okay? And what it actually means for the trial and really my future as, you know, a allegedly federal content creator on this platform, man, okay? This is actually crazy. There are far-reaching implications, all right? This is bad. So here's the post on Remo's page, man. Shout out to Remo. He grabbed this clip earlier and threw it up there. But yeah, they're saying, all right, they're saying that basically I got brought up by name in court. This has never happened to me before. Okay, this is the first time for me. I'm popping my courtroom cherry, okay? And I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I was driving earlier. Somebody sent this to me. I was like, I could not believe that I got mentioned in the courtroom. Okay, check this out.
Information is accurate, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, even though not all the information is accurate, you have been able to take some of that information and use it.
As long as it's...
I don't know if the start of this was cut off, but...
Okay. You also would look at, like, documentary-style videos as well?
To a certain extent, yes, ma'am.
And in your review of those videos, sometimes you might find useful information, but you also find that not all the information is accurate, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a play-by-play, okay, so you can follow, okay? For all the dummies that sound I'm working with the feds, all right, I'm going to give you a play-by-play so you can actually follow what's going on. They're basically saying, when you're researching the gang wars going on in this area, what do you look at? And in this trial, okay, in this day 4 of the trial, they also played these legendary songs from the Jacksonville gang wars. They played Who I Smoke. They played, I think, Game Over, which was... Young and Ace's diss song that came out just after Foolio died, and I believe they also played When I See You and other diss songs that went back and forth between these guys, okay? So what he's being asked is basically, you know, look, what are all of the things that you guys as detectives look at to try and work out what's going on in these streets? And they're saying, do you look at documentary videos? And he's saying, yes, documentary style videos on YouTube. We look at them. But he's basically saying, look, we can't vouch for the accuracy of these videos. We don't necessarily take everything they say as fact, but we look at them. We look at everything. Okay, and look, everybody said the feds, oh, your documentaries are helping the police. Now, look, okay, I still personally don't believe that the documentaries are helping the police. And if you listen carefully to what he says, okay, that's not the case. But, okay, it honestly doesn't surprise me that feds are watching the videos. I think feds are watching everything. They're watching Dirk's lives. They're watching my videos about Dirk. They're not reading the paperwork. They're creating the paperwork, okay? But they're basically looking at absolutely everything. They're looking at the comments under his post. They're looking at the Instagram post. They're looking at the diss songs. They're looking at the comments on the diss songs. And they're looking at the YouTube documentaries. But what they're basically saying is that they can't vouch for the authenticity of everything in there, and that some of these documentaries, hopefully not mine, do have misinformation in them, and they can't go on everything that's said in the documentary. They can't just throw the documentary in court. They're not playing a clip from it right now, okay? If they play a clip later on, that's going to be crazy, all right? And stay tuned because I'll react to that. But yeah, let's hear what he says, and I'll give you more context.
Now, even though not all the information is accurate, you have been able to take some of that information and use it.
As long as it's corroborated by other evidence, yes.
Okay.
So listen to what he said, all right? They said, well, even if some of the information in these documentaries isn't accurate, you're still able to take it and use it, right? They're basically saying you're able to take and use these documentaries as evidence in court, right? And he's basically saying, yeah, as long as it's corroborated, if we find something in a documentary that maybe we weren't clued up to, we go and corroborate that with other real hard evidence, and then we make a determination. We'll take the actual evidence. All right. And this is where the Fed screwed up with the Dirk case, because they basically, rather than taking the song lyrics, which I think are fair game, where Dirk's completely telling on himself, they basically took a fan-made edit where they put Quando Rondo screaming after the murder of Lil Pab onto the song. And they basically, the Feds, someone along the line, the chain of command screwed up. And the Feds claimed that that was actually something that Dirk himself had put out there. Even if they phrased it differently and just said these fan edits are going around, that still probably would have ran. But they screwed up by taking something that wasn't the original piece of evidence, okay, and trying to put it forward. And he is saying that that's not what they do. Yes, we find information out in documentaries, we'll corroborate that with real evidence, and then we can actually present that, okay? I just want to make it very clear what he's saying.
Okay. And in fact, you've even used some information you've gathered from YouTube videos and testimony and sworn testimony related to this case.
Yes.
Okay. Particularly a a different chart, gang chart that you captured from a YouTube video. Is that accurate?
I personally did not capture it, but I have seen it, yes.
And you
So they're saying a gang chart from a YouTube video was actually submitted as evidence. Now, in a minute, you're going to see why. Okay, you're going to see why. This actually isn't being used now. Okay, but it was actually put forward at a certain time. And I talked about it at the time when it happened. Not a lot of people called it. Okay, but it's a gang chart. And they're about to shout out, about to get that promo package, man.
you've used it in sworn testimony before.
I guess you could say that.
Okay. And that was from a video from a gentleman by the name of Trap Lore Ross. That sound familiar?
I'm not sure who it was from. It was given to me. Like I said, I did not personally make that chart. I've seen it, but I'm not sure who it was from.
Okay. You are familiar with that gentleman, though, right? Trap Lore Ross.
I don't know who that is.
You've never.
They said, damn, he didn't know who I was. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe they mentioned me by name. Now, look, okay, clearly he's not subscribed. Okay, there's still time, man. You can still sub. Trapmore Ross, we're here too. Like, you got to tap in, man, for all this content. But yeah, he basically said, look, it wasn't me, but somewhere. And actually, ironically, okay, what happened here is pretty identical to what happened in the Lil Durk situation. But they've been able to clean it up, which is probably what they'll do in the Durk situation too. But what he's saying is that, look, I didn't submit it, but sworn testimony that included content from a YouTube video did happen. And she said, are you familiar with Traplaw Ross? He said, I don't really, 6'7", I don't really know who that is. But yeah, I'm aware that somebody put in some sworn testimony from a YouTube video, right? And now they're saying, do you know who Traplaw Ross is? And this is crazy, is that there was basically an objection of like, oh, this isn't relevant. I'm pretty sure the judge stands on it and says, no, we're trying to hear about Traplaw Ross in the courtroom, man. Keep it running. What's going on?
I'm going to overrule the objection. He said he doesn't know who that is.
So,
Okay, go ahead.
you've seen some of the hours long documentary videos that sort of try to break down the gangs in Jacksonville.
I've seen a few.
And those videos have like millions of views.
Potentially, I'm not sure how many views they have.
Okay, a lot of views. You'd agree with that?
I'm not sure how many views they have.
Potentially thousands of comments, a lot of comments.
I'm not sure about the comments either.
Okay.
Yes.
You would agree with me that a part of in your investigations that you sometimes go through the comments in these videos?
It depends.
On what? What would it depend on?
It depends on the video itself.
Okay. And what is an example of a video where you see information about the gang and you would not go through the comments?
Generally, it just depends on what occurs in the videos. If the comments are worthy. A lot of times the comments are just trolling, so it's kind of a waste of time to scroll through all the comments.
And how would you know if the comments are trolling unless you go through them?
Well, I don't go through all of them. I have went through them on some videos, but not all videos.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is you might go through them, and then if you don't see anything useful, you move on.
Yeah, depending on the video.
Okay. And that's not just for the documentary style videos, it's also for the videos where there's music videos.
Yes.
Just for the record, all right, I want to point this out, okay? People talking about, oh, Traplaw Ross, you just use Reddit comments. You just go by comments. That's not facts. Now, I don't go by comments. I go by police reports. I go by news reports. I go by, paperwork, body cam footage. Yeah, some comments. But even as you're seeing in courtroom, okay, and this is a message for any rappers, any gangsters, anybody that out there likes to tell on themselves, okay, you might post something and your ops might be on there commenting, man. I think really what's going on, yeah, they're not looking for trolls. They're not looking for fan fiction about what people think about ATK versus KTA. I think they're looking to see, is there any comments from here from anybody involved? And I bet you, I don't need to bet you, all right? I did enough gambling this weekend. But I guarantee you, okay, despite what a lot of people think that, there's a bunch of suburban keyboard warriors just writing all the comments on gangster Reddit, so Chiracology, Duval County, I guarantee you, I know for a fact, a lot of those people in those comments are real people in the neighborhood or even involved, even part of the gang that leak information. I've seen a lot of these comments, okay, and I can tell you, so much stuff. People that are involved in these beefs, people that are even just on the peripherals, they're friends, they're related, they're desperate to put that information out there. I heard this, I heard that, my friend told me this. I actually live on the street where X went down, and people are desperate to get this information out there, and it's completely fair game for the police, and it is actually very useful to them, okay? It's not my fault, it's not the Fed's fault. don't put that information out. That information is circulating out there in the community, okay? If you don't want that to be put out there and to be used against anybody, you shouldn't put it out there, or you shouldn't do the crime to begin with. You shouldn't tell on yourself, you shouldn't rap about it. You shouldn't post videos antagonizing your ops where people and their friends are then going to put real information about the gang war, what's going on underneath it. Hey, that's just my 2 cents, all right? But let's keep going with this because there's more coming up.
And that's also going to be for videos that are posted on social media.
Sometimes.
Or
Common.
okay. You also would look at like documentaries.
Okay, so look, all right. There's more of this, okay, and I'm going to break it down. There is a 9-hour video that I need to work my way through from today's trial, okay? I haven't had time to work through it, but I wanted to react to this clip. But I just want to give you a little bit more context as to what was going on behind the scenes, okay? Because I think what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to discredit the state to basically say, look, you guys just take stuff from YouTube documentaries and bring it in as sworn evidence, right? And it's the same as the Durk situation. They're saying you just take fan-made edits of Lil Durk rapping and then them putting the screams from the murder scene behind it, and you just push that through as evidence. And that's wrong. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't be using my gang chart as an evidence. And I'm going to show you where they used it, because this was back in September of 2024, and I did a video about this at the time. All right, so here's the original reporting from September of 2024, right? And this was one of the sort of early hearings for Rashad Murphy, who was accused of being one of the gunmen who killed Julio Foolio, okay? So in this reporting, all right, we would actually see them present the gang map from my video, okay? And if you don't know, all right, it's this video. Jacksonville's Deadly Gang War. I dropped this 4 years ago. And like they were saying in court, did these videos get a lot of views? He said, I couldn't possibly say. This has 10 million views, okay? This ain't no secret, all right? This ain't no top secret information, okay? This isn't hidden. I'm not snitching, okay? This is a 10 million view video all about a whole bunch of famous rappers. And in this video, okay, there's multiple gang matrices that I made. Now, they didn't use this one. They didn't use the KTA one. This was Foolio's crew, okay? But essentially, I break down what's going on both sides of this gang war. What sets everybody's in, who's affiliated with what, where they're from, them being seen with each other. Got Queso on there, got all the different people. And this essentially eventually becomes a full-blown gang map of everybody that was involved in the beef, okay? This is in the video, all right? And shout out to my editor, man. We grinded it out. I think Camille edited this one, man. So, like, look, shout out to her, man. She did a good job on this. She created a damn good gang map, okay? And we killed it. We crushed it. We crushed it so much that the state couldn't be bothered to fire up Photoshop. And I said this at the time, all right? I did actually say this at the time, but they showed this in court and I did a video about it. So people calling me the feds. Apparently now I am the feds. Apparently the feds are literally... apparently I'm a rung above the feds now. All right, I can't believe what I'm seeing, people. I've just gone online. I've gone on the timeline and I've seen Remo from No Jumper has posted a clip that's apparently from the actual news saying that the feds or the cops or whoever's operating the police operations in Jacksonville looking into the murder of Foolio have created a matrix listing exactly who is involved in the murder of Foolio and the adjacent gangs.
And arrival of the ATK and 1200 gang in Jacksonville.
I've had a look at this. The feds have not come up with this. That's my matrix from the Jacksonville's video. That's mine. That's actually, I made that. I made that myself. Some members of this group have been known to represent under the S4C, Team Michi, Bevel 5 or B5, Lil Popper, Greenlight, Lil Leaky, and Shook. So, that's the ATK crew. So people calling me the feds. Apparently now I am the feds. Apparently the feds are literally... apparently I'm a rung above the feds now. So look, I'm a rung above the feds, man. The feds are taking their orders from me. So for all the rappers that want to play with me, man, you know what I'm saying? For all the KBzers and all of that, all right? Listen, I might throw the gang matrix. I might knock together a little 12-world gang matrix, chuck KBs and Central C up on there, man. If that's really the smoke that you guys want. But for real, let's look at the original video. This kind of breaks down where the trial was at the time and how this actually got revealed in court. And then I'll show you one more thing that makes this really interesting.
Accused of killing rapper Julio Foolio appeared in a Tampa courtroom today. 30-year-old Rashad Murphy is one of 5 suspects in the case. And as News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson reports, detectives believe the killing was sparked by a long-standing feud.
His stage name
Today,
was
the
Julio
latest...
Foolio. His
Thanks for that,
real name was
Clear.
Charles Jones, and he lived in Jacksonville. But his career and his life ended in Tampa. There is video of the night Charles Jones, also known as Julio Foolio, was killed. Today, a detective who specializes in gang activity in Jacksonville testified that Jones was a known member of the 6 Block Gang and a rival of the ATK and 1200 gang in Jacksonville.
So look, they showed it in court, all right, basically as proof of the rivalry between the gangs. And this is where I want to just kind of explain how this is really similar to the Durk situation, because I think it's pure laziness, all right? They couldn't be bothered to... I'm joking when I say it in the video, but like genuinely, I don't think they could be bothered to fire up Photoshop Or maybe they felt like this was an accurate gang map. If somebody had made one of these on Reddit, like they've just done for No Limit, maybe they'd have thrown that up there too. But I think this was rushed. I think this was laziness on their behalf. And that's why I think it's really interesting to tell you, okay, was I even playing that? I hope that was on screen. If that wasn't on screen, my bad. But you basically, you catch the drift, right? You see what's going on there. You see all of this going on. They had him in court there, right? All right, I screwed up if I didn't show that. But anyway, all right, you get the gist. So what's really interesting about this is now, after all of that, so I can now confirm, okay, the feds have now got one over on me, and they've created a new and improved and much better gang matrix for the 1200 gang. So essentially, like I said before, man, it's pure. It was pure rush, laziness, whatever you want to call it, man. I don't want any smoke with the Florida prosecutors by any means. Okay, if anything, I feel like you know what I'm saying. You guys, you're not lazy, all right? You're doing your thing. But look. They basically said, we were in a rush, let's just grab this thing off of YouTube and run that. Okay, but now that it's the real blown, full, real deal trial, just like in the Dirk situation, they removed that piece of evidence that they got from the wrong source. They have now got a original 1200 gang matrix that they're now showing in court. It's official. They've made it themselves. This is original content. You know what I'm saying? They was running fair use on the last one, but now they came back with the original content, man. They came back with a Netflix original. Look at this.
Is it common for the members of 1200 to utilize that same hand symbol when posting on social media or in music videos?
Yes, ma'am.
See, that's how you know the feds got one up on me, man, because they went and created a new gang matrix and they made sure that pretty much everybody in there is throwing up the set. All right, they went, okay, we got to catch everybody. I didn't even know that this was a 1200 sign, but hey, clearly that's, you know what I'm saying, they don't one up to me, man. So when I make my next gang matrix, I got to make sure that every picture that I can find, they got to be throwing up the set. Okay, that's now the new standard that the feds have now revealed. You know, they've dropped the new formula, they've dropped the new method. And that's what I'm going to have to do. But look, okay, I'm kind of still a little bit speechless, okay? I can't believe that I got brought up in the trial. I really don't care. I don't take it to heart. I don't feel like, oh my God, I'm the feds. Like, I see everybody kind of hating in the Instagram comments on the post on Remo's page. You know, man, we said, come on, man. CTS Lil Wick said this was going to happen, man. Jaleese is sticking up. She's saying, I guess we are 12. Well, they can go ahead and send the anonymous invoice. I've solved a few cases at LMAO. Shout out to Jaleese, man. That's facts, man. We need to get on a payroll. If I'm going to create gang matrices for you guys, all right? I wonder how much you paid whoever came up with that new gang matrix, right? I could have killed that, all right, for the right bag. Saying this right here shows that Trap Law Ross is doing police work respectfully. Says his favorite thing to say is, if I already know, the police already know. Well, they do already know, all right? They already arrested the guys for the murder, all right? They just needed a quick graphic to play in court, man. They just said, fuck it, let's just screen grab that. They're saying, you Blogsby12 says, just imagine how much his documentary assisted against Lil Durk's case and putting together pieces for them to offer to other alleged hirings. Put together pieces for the other alleged hiring. I don't know what they mean by hirings. They're saying stop posting on social media. That simple. Facts, all right? They was putting everything out there. People love avoiding responsibility, okay? But they're saying I'm the reason for the incoming RICO. They're saying culture vultures, man. I'm a culture soldier, man. Allow all that. They're saying LMFAO might as well turn policeman, all right? Saying told my girl this earlier. Them boys make Vlad look like a ticket. That comment is funny, man. They're saying we make Vlad look like a ticket cop, man. Vlad out here throwing speeding tickets at fools, and I'm out here profiling the full RICO. What Vlad does and what Ross does and what Academics does is completely different. That's true. People saying, hey, so what? Stop doing crime, all right? Do you really think, are you guys really that dumb to think that, yo, like, damn, Foolio just got killed. Like, we need to solve this murder. We can't find a good gang matrix. Guess we better just let everyone go. Is that how it works? If you can't find a good gang matrix to jack off a Trap Law Ross video, we just got to let everyone go, man. It's going to be another unsolved murder. Forget the Tesla footage. Forget all the lyrics. Forget all the back and forths. Come on, man. Come on, man. Have a laugh. All right. But anyway, is what it is, man. Listen, I don't even know what to say, man. Whole lot of emotion going on right now. But look, okay, that's not even the last of it. All right. I've got so many things loading that are crazy that, like, this is just icing on the cake, bro. This is actually crazy. But anyway, man, shout out to their feds, man. We need justice for Foolio. I ain't gonna lie. That Alicia Andrews, man, I hope she sits down for a minute, man, because she definitely a demon. She was all smiling in the courtroom and that stuff, man. I was a big fan of Foolio's music. You know, it's very unfortunate. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not a fan of crime. So, if that gang matrix, they ain't end up using it in the end, they got everything they need, man. These guys are cooked, charbroiled, absolutely toasted, man. So anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next few videos, man. Just hold tight, man. Content about to be crazy. All right, that's all I'll say. Catch you in the next video. I appreciate you.